Hi guys, so welcome once again to Beyond the Classroom. So this is the only learning platform where knowledge is dispersed and learners out there start grabbing one after the other. So we are addicted to learning, and we always want to ask questions all the time. One who loves to learn have questions to ask. If you ask, the more you ask, the more you know. If only it is the answers are delivered to you, and we are always sure of getting the answers. Today we have someone who is here to help us get answers to our questions. Usually, you are most welcome to today's episode. If you are new, just try to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Like this video if you are enjoying it, and share with others for them to also learn just as we are doing today. And then drop your comment in the comment section as a way of joining this conversation to make it interactive. So let's go for a quick commercial break, and with our returning guest. He's not a new person here. If you have not watched his first videos, you can go and watch them, then you come back to continue from here. He's a returning member, so we wouldn't waste much time on trying to introduce him. But let's go for a quick commercial break, and in our return we start with the interview for today.
You are welcome to Kimbo Royal Tree, the best hotel in Winneba, close to Winneba Junction and direct opposite the Guel Filling Station. Among some of the facilities Kimbo Royal Tree offers its clients and customers include: number one, we have a serene swimming pool where you can relax your body at any time, swim at any time, any day at affordable prices. In fact, you can come here 24/7. We operate all time. We there for you. Kimbo Royal Treat is having an event center where we host every type of event. Any event you want, whether birthday party, weddings, any event at all, we can give you the best facility to host your event that you want to host. Kimbo Royal Treat is having a gym center where you can gym your body at any time, morning, evening, afternoon, any time at all you feel. And we also have a kitchen where we offer both local and foreign dishes. Any type of food you want, just come to Kimbo Royal Treat and we will give it to you at very affordable prices. We also have a clinic attached to the hotel where, in case of any emergency or any other time, you can go there for the services at very, very subsidized prices. We've reduced the prices drastically just to favor our customers. Call the contact, the numbers on this list.
Today I am here with Prof. Dogbe. If you can remember him, he was here to discuss constitutional issues, legal issues with us. He's an icon when it comes to legalities, especially on UEW campus and Ghana at large. He has been he's featured in most of legal issues on campus especially. So he's here with us today to discuss historical issues with us. We are coming to look at whether Africa was civilized before their encounter, or before our encounter. If I say dear, it will look like I'm not part. So I'm putting myself in the picture before our encounter with the Europeans or the rest of the world, with Prof. Dogbe. Prof. Dogbe, you are welcome once again to Beyond the Classroom. So this is the only learning platform, as you know.
Sure.
We are here to ask you questions, and I hope you are ready for it.
We are together.
Before then, how's the atmosphere? I hope the atmosphere is cool.
The atmosphere is very safe.
Good. So since we know you, Prof. Dogbe, right? Or you've changed your name?
Oh, I still remain SK Dogbe.
He remained the same. Okay, so no changes now. We'll first of all like to know when we say civilized, what is it?
When we talk of civilization, we mean the social, political, and economic organization of a society.
Okay.
How a society is economically developed.
Okay.
Politically, what they have. Socially, what they practice or what they do. Yes. And this civilization encompasses the architecture, the acts, and other things of the society. So when we are talking about civilization, there is in simplicity or in a simple form, this is what we are talking about.
We are talking about the economic, political, and what social organization
of a society.
Of a society.
Yes.
Okay. If I'm getting everything clear, maybe the improvement in some of these things that we are touching on.
Exactly.
Okay. So looking at Africa before the encounter, our encounter with the Europeans.
Yes.
Per the definition we have given to civilization, were we civilized before they came, or they came to civilize us?
Oh, okay. That is.
I don't know if it was a mistake on the part of God to make us Africans. So tell us something.
Thank you very much for that. You see, Africa is a great continent.
Okay.
Africa has been known to be the cradle of humans and civilization.
Okay.
What I mean by the cradle of human and civilization, an evolution of a center for evolution of human and human evolution and then civilization.
So when you say human evolution, what is that supposed to
that
mean?
Is a lot of history scholars reveal that humans evolved from Africa.
Humans evolved from Africa.
Exactly.
So we are not speaking from the perspective of the Adam and Eve. Are we speaking from that direction?
This is a historical fact.
Okay, so it's different from the biblical
exactly aspect.
Okay.
So we are focusing on the archaeological evidences provided, and then the evidence or facts that are discovered by anthropologists.
Who are these anthropologists?
These are people who study nature and then the evolution of things. And when we talk of these archaeologists, they do their investigations into nature and discover and make discovery of existence of things or how things evolve. So through these through their investigations and other explorations, they discovered that humans emanated or evolved from Africa based on some findings they found in some some caves and other things. So when it comes to the civilization of Africa, it is believed that Africans or humans, these humans that evolved from Africa about 2.6 million years ago, manufactured some stone tools.
Stone tools.
Like some axes, spears and other things. And that is a primitive technology that existed among these people. Taking into consideration the facts that underpin civilization to occur in Africa before the encounter with the Europeans is this. Humans, when we talk of the civilization in Africa before the encounter with the Europeans, we mean that humans or earlier humans or Africans live in a society where there were no rules and regulations.
No rules
and regulations.
Okay.
But as time goes on, they begin to gather themselves and embark on hunting and gathering What I mean by hunting and gathering is they hunt for animals, they gather cereals, that is food, for survival. That is what they do.
Hunting and gathering.
Hunting and gathering.
Okay.
This was what Africans were doing. So when society keeps growing, the nature or the environment and the weather climates of Africa force these individuals to move from places to survive. So areas that were rainy and productive, some people move to those areas for survival. And those who remain at the dry places or localities found their ways of surviving. And it is these complexities and increase in the population that leads to some activities that some Africans embarked on in the past, and which brought about the Egyptian civilization.
Wow.
The search for rainy and productive environments and the increase in population in society forced these people who were living or who were surviving on hunting and gathering started domesticating plants and animals.
Wow.
So at first they were living nomadic life, where they were only hunting and gathering food.
When we say this gathering food, it means no farms.
No farms.
Just go whatever you
in
feel
search
like
for food.
you can eat.
Cereals.
Just harvest and
Exactly.
bring it home. But later on, they realized that there is a need to make it a domestic kind of a normal routine to be doing.
Exactly.
There evolved farms and domestic animals.
Exactly.
Okay, let's proceed.
So they started domesticating animals and cereal, crops, and other things. That was when farming started, agriculture started.
Wow. So agriculture started in Africa.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they started this farming, domestication of plants and animals. That is to say that they move from the nomadic lifestyle to a Neolithic era. And this Neolithic era was when Africans were actively involved in agriculture and other complex labor. Society became complex and there was the need for political or government leaders or administrations. And that was when the Egyptian civilization started. So it is believed that civilization started in Africa from the Egyptians era, okay, where they moved from these individual societies, come together as a community, and then grew into kingdoms, and they started to practice a common culture and other things. Are you getting it? So when we are talking about civilization in Africa, in our earlier definition or meaning of civilization, we made mention of social, political, and economic organization of a society. So they had their leader who was a king, okay, and this leadership group.
Can we know the name of the first king?
One of the kings of Egypt was Khufu. It was his time that the new Egypt Amon the First Amol the First started with the pharaoh title. Okay, so this Egyptian culture or this Egyptian civilization grew. We Egyptians saw the development in architecture, in arts, and in writing. And it is believed, according to historians or history scholars, that writing started from Egypt.
That's Africa.
Africa.
I want us to get something. Okay.
Yes.
I want us to get something right here. During that time when all these things were happening, were the people living in Egypt, were they black or white as they are today?
Okay.
Yes, I want to get. I am not much even focused on the African continent. I want us to be more based on the black, to be clear whether the black people actually started something, or were we that doomed people that were, civilized by the whites. You know, when you are talking about Egypt, we have whites dominating, or even we can say only whites. So what happens?
You know, when we talk of Africans with a black skin, okay, the skin color or the complexion can change due to environmental factors. Okay, so it does not necessarily mean that the people should wear the black skin before they are referred to as Africans.
Okay.
When historians or history scholars discovered that Africa was named Africa because to mean the black skin, people moved to other parts of the world and they experienced change in their skin color because of the environment in which they found themselves, or because of the weather climate surrounding their environment. So the environment had effect on their skin color. So it does not necessarily mean that the black skin, you must wear the black skin before you are referred to as an African.
Wow.
There were Africans that had different complexions. We have East Africa, South Africa, the western part of Africa, and the northern part of Africa. And Egypt happens to be one of the northeastern African countries. Yes.
Okay.
So with the race, I would say that in the case of Egypt, they are Africans, but their skin color may be different because of their climatic conditions or their weather conditions.
It's just like the color or the skin color of the people of Tanzania or Tanganyika. You see, like their color is not that dark. These are our dark colors. It's more light, but you know they also appear like we.
So the same way when you go to South Africa, some of them are fair in complexion, some of them
are black. Wow. Wow.
And even there are some parts of Africa that our weather climate changes. The environment is different from the other. Wow. So this could determine the other things we experience in Africa.
Wow.
And Egypt, the civilization cannot be mentioned without making reference to the Nile River. The River Nile.
Okay.
So Egypt is located along the Nile River. That gave it an exposure to a lot of civilization that took place.
Okay.
And these civilizations that occurred in Egypt, those days, made Africans privileged to have experienced civilization before the encounter with the Europeans.
With the Europeans. So before they came, we were practicing this. We were united, having our king, empires. I don't know if I'm getting everything right.
Yes.
Empires and what have you.
Exactly.
And why are they associating? You talked of pharaoh title.
Yeah.
Why are they associating so much darkness to that title, pharaoh? Like, it's regarded as an evil kind of. Listen, what can you give us a brief story about the pharaoh title?
The people who
of pharaoh, like this thing. I don't actually have much information about it, but it's regarded as some evil kind of title.
Okay, I don't see the pharaoh title to be evil, but just like a kingdom would have a particular name that befits it. When the old empire experienced challenges and came to an end, that was when the new empire began with the pharaoh title. Okay. So I will not be in the position to say that the pharaoh title
was an evil title or something.
Evil title. For whatever reason the name was given is possible.
Okay. But were we practicing those barbaric cultures like this cannibalism, human sacrifices, abusive cultural practices like the widowhood, those things? Like, were we into those barbaric primitive acts before our encounter?
Which of the actions or cultures are we referring to as barbaric?
Barbaric, like cannibalism. They claim we were eating each other. Cannibalism. Then we go for not spiritually. Cannibalism as in physical one. We chop humans. Then we go for human sacrifice. For instance, when they want to bury a king and those things, the human sacrifice. Then we go for abusive cultural practices like is it widowhood and the rest, where this puberty rise and things. What happens at that time?
How can humans eat each other?
That was the claims. Those were the claims.
You see?
Maybe shortage of meat.
You see, the whites, that I would say that is a misconception. What I know is we have our own system of culture, our own practices in place before the encounter with the Europeans.
Yes.
And when we are talking about culture, we mean the way of life of a group of people. Culture does not only mean that, but also encompasses the values, the beliefs and the customs of the people. What do they wear? What do they eat? What kind of music do they have? What is their dance?
The language they speak.
The language they speak. And when we come to those things are the material culture. When we come to the non-material culture, we are looking at the values, the beliefs, the customs, the practices of the people, the behavior of the people. So if the Europeans will say that Africa was not civilized until their encounter with us, the question is, who were we praying to? Who were we worshipping before they claim to bring civilization to us?
Where did our forefathers go to after death?
Exactly.
Heaven or hell, which we didn't know before.
Where did they go? Who were we praying to at that time? What was the mode of worship? What did Africans believe in before their encounter with us. We knew very well they were here for economic, political, and religious purposes. That is to mean that they came to exploit our resources.
Yes.
When they were in search of raw materials.
Yes.
They were also looking for markets and other things. National prestige brought them down to Africa.
Just to spread what they have.
They also
So
claim
how
they
superior
also
they
claim they also claim to bring or to introduce Christianity to us. Missions. Okay?
Yes.
Where we had missionaries on the continent to introduce us to the Christian religion.
Yes.
So these questions that I've asked, if Africans duly pray to someone or to somebody before the encounter with the Europeans, if Africans have their system of belief, their values, things that they do, their own practices, their own tools that they work with, their own buildings, their own system of government, why then, or how then, do the Europeans civilize us as Africans? So
before they came,
these are a whole lot of questions that
we should be asking ourselves.
Before the Europeans, Africans knew nothing about Jesus Christ. I mean the name Christian religion. We had our own system of worship before they came. Okay, so our forefathers, our grandfathers, where were they that died? Where did they go?
Question mark.
Because it was, let's say, as a result of our encounter with them, that they made us know that there is something called heaven and earth. Okay, where one is meant for those who did evil, and one is meant for
those who do good. And there is someone who came to die for us.
Exactly.
Our Lord and personal Savior.
Exactly. But before then, Africans pray to a supernatural being through so many things. Okay.
Meaning our forefathers have gone to hell.
So, looking at all this, our religious practices, things we do, our belief system, our values, okay, the architectural these things that we had before their encounter with us, to the extent that even it is discovered that writing started in Africa before we had an encounter with the Europeans. So, taking a look at all these facts, what shows that Africans became civilized when they had encounter with Europeans? We were way forward. We were far. We were civilized long ago.
Living good life.
We were civilized long ago before the encounter with the Europeans.
But I want to know, like, were there peace in Africa? Like the way some historians will tell you that before the Europeans came to Africa to start slavery, they started slavery before colonization. Before slavery, that we ourselves were also enslaving ourselves, amongst ourselves. But it wasn't so violent as they came to do.
We were enslaving ourselves.
So how was ours done, and how friendly was it? Was it not chaos?
You see, almost every writer,
yes,
okay,
yeah,
that writes about Africa were whites. It was some few years ago that Africans started to write on Africa,
writing our own story.
Yes, our own story. So how can someone that is not from your place write a true story about you?
Impossible now. It's not possible.
One, it might be based on a little encounter the person had with you, or something the person has heard about you. Okay, but does their writings really depict who we are?
Most of their words can be fallacy.
Exactly. So there might be in existence a form of slavery before their arrival. But to what extent? What was the nature
of
it before
their
encounter? So slavery might exist in Africa before their encounter, but the nature of that slavery was far different from what they
described.
Okay. There are so many questions that we can ask about what we call, or what some people call, Christian names. These Christian names, who brought about these Christian names? What was the motive behind these Christian names?
To let you look like
them.
So
the thing is, when slavery was taking place, slave merchants would have to buy slaves, send them to their plantations, or people, they will come and buy it and go and sell it to farm plantation owners in the West Indies and Americas. Okay, so if I come to buy a slave or slaves, and I'm going to sell it to clients or customers over there by their local names here that is not familiar to
with
them,
the people there. It would be difficult to handle them.
So they would have to give us names that they are familiar with, so that they will be able to make
our African names
business.
are difficult to them, like Wusola, Chimate, like big names. They can't.
You see,
they can't relate.
That was when the missionaries too were in place. Most of these people who engaged themselves in this slave trade were missionaries. Okay, they will baptize you and give you their names, names that they are familiar with.
Then throw away your name.
That name will be tagged on you, and you will go with it. So, assuming that you send a slave to go and sell to a merchant, okay, or a customer who is not familiar with the name of that slave, what will happen? They will have to give you a name they are familiar with. So the main motive behind Christian name is for easy identification. They were not familiar with our names, and they can't even pronounce them, they can't mention them. So they would have to give us names.
So it's a slave mark
they are familiar with.
It's a mark on you. Aye.
You see?
Why
should it be Christian names but not English names?
Not English names. Wow.
Why should it be Christian name but not English name?
I hope we are learning something. The conversation is getting more interesting, but time is not by our side. So I will urge you to pardon me or pardon us for the time's sake. We'll wrap up everything. Then next time, when we have another time with him, then we can continue from where we might have stopped from today. So Prof, we have almost exhausted all our time. So I will want us to wrap up. Then we draw the curtains.
So based on some basic facts that we have spoken about, and taking a look at our cultural practices, our system of government, okay, and our social structure, Africa was civilized before the encounter with the Europeans.
Wow.
So the Europeans did not come to civilize Africa.
We're having everything, all the structures.
We had
just that they just replace.
What replacement? You see, what happened was society keeps increasing, and it was their search for raw materials, market for their goods, and national prestige that made them to partition Africa.
Yeah, to partition Africa
to partition Africa.
The
to come to Africa. So when they came to Africa, and then they transact, or they engage in business transaction with us, definitely we would have access to new items that are not we were not having.
Yes, are not familiar with us.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
We would have to we exchange so many things with them. So the complexity of the environment, and then the contact with new ideas that we had from them, does not mean they came to civilize us.
They also had things from us that they are not having.
Exactly.
They were not having.
Exactly. So should we say that
we have also fed them?
We have also civilized them.
It's like a kind of give and take.
Exactly.
So no one should be boasting.
So there were a series of technological transformations and developments in Africa before the encounter with the Europeans. We had our economic, social, and political structure in place.
Culture,
everything in place before they came to Africa.
Who knows? Like, even by now, we would have, if all things being equal.
Egypt is an example. The kingdom of Kush is an example. The kingdom of Exan is an example.
We would have
all these kingdoms experience a whole lot of development and civilization before they encounter with the Europeans.
Prof, you tell us your last words. Give us some brief advice. We'll call it a day.
This is what I have to say.
Yeah.
I'm a Pan-Africanist.
Okay.
I believe in Africa.
Okay.
I am an African child.
Okay.
We have to take a real look at the stories of Africa. We need to go back for our values, our beliefs, our customs to enrich us. Africa is rich but not poor. We have to decolonize Africa. We need to gain our power back and our recognition. So I will entreat every African to love Africa, to eat Africa, to grow Africa, to support Africa, to develop Africa. Together we can make it on the continent.
Wow.
We don't need to go to the foreign lands outside Africa to make it. Africa is the greener pasture. Thank you.
Wow. Africa is the greener pasture. That is the last words. These are the last words of Prof. Dogbe for today's interview. Please, if you are watching this content and you are enjoying it, I know you have learned something for the day. Definitely we have learned something. So just share with others for them to also learn, just as you are learning. Don't fight to be the only African. Fight for us all to be Africans. So after learning, which you have now become a full African because of the knowledge you've gained from this content, just share with others for them to also learn and also have the same experience just as you are having now. Don't stay outside the box and look at those inside the box to suffer bondage, in bondage. So let's all get ourselves together going. Share the video, like I said, like it, and drop your comment in the comment section as a way of joining this conversation. If you want us to call him back, just drop it in the comment section, just as usual, as we always do. Any recommendation you have to say, just put it in the comment section, then we proceed from there. I thank you so much for joining us for in today's conversation, and we'll be hoping to see you in our next conversation, our subsequent conversations, of course. Thank you so much for joining, for making time with us. Have a blessed day.